Chapter 15, Schooled. Jude, we've got a problem, Max said. We've got 3 kids that failed their online exams and are scheduled for extraction for CME. All 3 of them said their exam was completely different this month. They said the format was different, a lot of the material was not in the curriculum, and the pass threshold was moved from 70% to 80%. Are they still allowed to retake an alternative exam? Jude asked. That's what Callum did. He failed all of them, but they still gave him that option. Yes, one boy took it and failed. The other 2 haven't tried the alternative one yet. Don't let them take it yet. Wait till we get there. I want to see the exams. My mom knows these tests and the education system inside and out. She might be able to help us figure out what is happening. Okay, I'll tell the parents to hold off. We'll be back in a few hours. On the road back, Zara was unusually intent on her phone. What's going on? Jude asked. It's not just Ozark, she said. I'm getting messages and posts from SACs all over the country. Parents are saying the exams have changed, and kids are failing and getting scheduled for extraction. This looks a lot like a move by the new American Department of Education. How fast can you post something safely? Jude asked. A couple of hours after I write it, Zara said. Can you write a post and advise parents to register for the alternative exam but hold off on having their kids take it for 72 hours? Tell them the Sparrows are working on it. Zara smiled. I'm writing it now. Here are some insights. The squeeze continues, but this time the government has changed tactics. Instead of using the military or using camo, now they're using the Department of Education, and they're going to try and extract a large number of kids out of the SACs and put them in the cities. Why would they do that? Well, there's 3 things that it does. First of all, it demoralizes the SAC parents and the kids, especially kids who grew up in SACs, growing up around their family on a farm in a remote area, going from that environment to being forced to come to a boarding school in a city with technology they're not familiar with. It's traumatic for them, and it's very demoralizing. The other thing it does is it gives the government a way to influence the next generation. These kids are being forced to be educated in public schools instead of on a SAC where they just had to pass exams and meet certain standards, but they could still be taught by their parents and taught from their parents' perspective. Now they're being influenced by government curriculum, and there's a chance for them to convince these kids not to go back to SACs, maybe to stay in the cities. And the third thing, of course, is it just gives them overall leverage over the SACs. Here there's this threat: do what we say, do it the way we want, or we'll take your kids. And so they've got, it gives them another avenue of power over these SACs. What are the Sparrows going to do? What can they do? Are they going to file lawsuits, resist, protest? If they do that, how long is that going to take to go through the courts? Will that do anything? Will the courts even care? How are they going to prove that the Department of Education is intentionally changing exams in order to cause kids to fail? How would they even begin to do that? They could do that, or they might just try to beat the Department of Education at their own game. Luckily, Jude and Maisy and Callum were raised by Rod and Maren Kane, and Maren, if you remember, is a former school teacher. She knows, not only is she a teacher, but she also educated all 3 of her kids with the Department of Education curriculum, so she knows it inside and out. So they do have a little bit of an in. They have somebody who knows. So they're going to call on Mom for some help, and she's going to dig deep and see if she can figure out what the Department of Education is up to, and if she can, she might be able to help these kids get around these tricks that the government are pulling and help them pass these exams and beat them at their own game. So we'll see what happens. Read the chapter and you'll find out. But it's definitely a countrywide threat. So, after helping out the SAC right there, the Ozark SAC, which is outside of Kansas City, that's the SAC that Max leads, they may need to help other SACs, which means they might have to go on the road. So we will just see where they head in chapter 16.